What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. I've been sick for a little bit, but over that time, we have been well fed in the NBA community for drama and rumors. The first one we're looking at, the Hawks are open to trading Trae Young as per Mark Stein. Of course, Atlanta's been skidding for the last, half a month now. Things started off really well for them when Trae Young was out. Trae Young is back now. They have not looked any better. They were on the downslope before he came back. When he came back, it's only kind of exacerbated it. I hate using the word exacerbate. It's a little flying too close to the sun there. But Trae Young is a potential trade candidate, as you could tell. They're very open to moving him at any moment. We don't know. We can move over. We see the Mavericks are open to exploring the trade market for Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, Klay Thompson, D'Lo. We only care about AD right now. We're talking about stars. That's per Shams Charania. And lastly, we have the Brooklyn Nets appearing to listen to trade offers for Michael Porter Jr. per Eric Slater. 3 guys that could all be moved at the deadline, all of which are about 20-plus point per game scorers, all of which would also be complete game changers for any contender looking to move them. So, what are we doing today? Fanspo trade machine time. We're starting off with Trae Young because I believe he might be the hardest one to find a trade for. Michael Porter Jr., Anthony Davis fit very well into a lot of teams. Trae Young, not really. You ballpark with him. Let's look at the teams. Let's just look East and West. Who would need Trae Young? Pistons, no. Knicks, no. Celtics, no. Raptors, no. Magic, no. Magic are close, but not really. Suggs is really good. They don't really need another guard, a ball-dominant guard at that. 76ers, no. Heat, maybe. Cavs, no. That'd just be a one-for-one swap with Garland. They're basically the same level of player. Bulls, no. Bucks, that's a potential team. Hornets, no. Nets, no. Wizards, maybe. Pacers, no. Out West, Thunder, no. Spurs, no. Nuggets, no. Lakers, no. Rockets, maybe. Timberwolves, maybe. Suns, no. Warriors, no. Grizzlies, no. Trailblazers, I thought about the Trailblazers, but it doesn't make any sense. Their defense is piss poor as is compared to last year. They were an elite defensive unit last year. Now all of a sudden they can't stay in front of a guy, so that probably wouldn't work out. Trae Young to Portland, I can't imagine that happening. Jazz, no, they got Keontae and Collier. Mavericks have talked about it, but they don't want Trae Young really. They're going in the younger direction. You don't need Trae Young, especially when you got Cooper Flag. You have your guy. He's going to hold the ball the majority of the time, and they're okay with that. Clippers, no. They're already in the mud as is. They don't have a ton of pick equity. Kings, no. Pelicans, no. So really, there's only like 4 or 5 teams that could really use a Trae Young. Should we start calling him Trade Young? All right, bad joke time out of the way. We're going to get this thing popping with, who's the first team I want to talk about? I floated Miami out there, and I just kind of want to BS with it for a second. You need to make up money for Trae Young. He's making $46 million. That's quite a bit. How could we ballpark that? Well, we could give up Andrew Wiggins. The reason why I'm okay with giving up Andrew Wiggins in this trade is simply because the Heat have a good plethora of young wings. Fontecchio's played really good. Jovic has played all right when he's played. Jaime Jaquez has been really good. Jakachonis is a bigger point guard. They say he's a point guard, but he's 6'6", for Christ's sake. Pelle Larson's a wing. He's 6'5". Keshad Johnson had a nice putback the other day. They have a bunch of wings. They could offload Andrew Wiggins. He's a little bit older. Doesn't really make sense on their younger roster. You get Trae Young in because they don't really have many point guards that can create. Probably their best assist man right now is Davion or Bam. Bam's a center. Tyler Hero hasn't played a ton this year. Terry Rozier at the casino, I don't know. Norm Powell is not a passer. Davion Mitchell's a decent passer. But after that, you go look down. Like Jaime Jaquez might be their second or third best passer on the roster. So maybe they look for it, and they have some young guys. I'd assume they'd want to keep Jakachonis, so I will not be throwing him in this trade. It will mostly be Andrew Wiggins, probably Terry Rozier. Nobody knows what's going on with his gambling investigation. His contract can still be used in a trade, I believe, and that kind of makes it work. Picks, obviously, I believe the Heat would have to give up at least 1 pick here. I don't think Trae Young's value is that crazy. We'll give them a 2029 top 5 protected or something like that. And then maybe we do like a 2032 top 10 protected. I don't think the pick equity is going to be crazy back for Trae Young because the Hawks have showed they don't really want him like that. Would this trade go through? Honestly, I don't think so. I don't really think so, but I guess we will have to see. It actually does go through. I thought the cap aprons would be a big thing, but here's the thing. Miami has been stuck perennially in the play-in for a few years now as well. They're hard capped at a 45-win team at its peak, but they're closer to a 40-win team if I had to ballpark. Trae Young, does he change that? Maybe Maybe not. But you're at the point with the Miami Heat where they're not bad enough to get a top 10 pick. They're not good enough to really be a contender. Trae Young can really help that. They have good defenders already on the team. You think about it, their back end, Khalil Ware, Bam Adebayo, those are two pretty good defenders. Pelle Larson's a good defender in his own right. Norm Powell's not a bad defender, even though he's smaller for a wing. You get yourself a Trae Young. He can pass, he can play make. And if it's not working out, Davion Mitchell's still there. You can put Davion Mitchell in for a defensive unit. Yes, he's making a ton of money, but at this current moment, do the Miami Heat have any real building blocks besides like Khalil Ware that I would say is like a staple of their future? I like Pelle Larson, real hustle player, but he hasn't shown enough for me personally. And then Yakachonis doesn't get enough PT because of guys like Wiggins on the roster who are taking up minutes. So it allows more minutes for Kasparis Yakachonis, who I think that the Heat are really high on, plus Nikola Jovic, who I think he's missing time with injuries. But he can also get some more PT because Wiggins is gone. And then on top of that, you're only giving up 2 picks that are protected because, honest to God, I don't think the Hawks are going to be able to take and want that many picks. Like, they're not going to get a Desmond Bane 5 picks. Why? Because everyone knows they want to get rid of Trae Young. They're really, really bad. You have no leverage in negotiations when teams know you suck, A, and B, you don't even want him there. Bright light was starting to hurt my eyes, so I turned it down. I'm still sick, like I said. Let me know down in the comments if you guys like this one. We can move on to another Trae Young proposal. I know this might be riding Jock a little bit because I know, I believe King of the Fourth Quarter also proposed a trade like this for Trae Young to the Wizards. So technically, yeah. I'm dick riding for Obama or whatever they said. Remember the Boondocks did that? Yeah, that was wild. So who would a Trae Young package to the Wizards net for the Hawks? Obviously, the Wizards would get their point guard of the future. The reason why I don't mind Trae Young to the Wizards is because they don't really have a solidified lead guard. I love Trey Johnson. He's a scorer, a pure bucket. He shoots from the parking lot, and he makes a lot of them. He is a fun player to watch, but he's more of a scoring guard, not really a passer. Bub Carrington, I don't know what to think anymore. He's been really pitiful this year. Can I be honest with you? He's been really bad. You have some building blocks, though. Keyshawn George is still here, who's really, really good. AJ Johnson, who's not bad as well. And, like, Bilal's not bad, really. Corey Kispert's a good player. They have expiring contracts as well. For instance, here you go. Here's a Chris Middleton. That's a $33 million. And honestly, I think the Wizards have so much open cap space, they could just take it like that. Pause. I think they actually wouldn't do Chris Middleton. It'd probably be CJ McCollum because he has a solid $30 million, and it would still work. Obviously, the Wizards would have to give up some picks, and that's where we're talking, I don't know, top 5 protected 2027. Whoa, look at this pick, fellas. The 2028 round 1 pick. That is nuts. That can go to like 6 different teams. I see Phoenix in there, Brooklyn, New York. Oh my God, that's a headache. I'm not reading that manifesto. 2029 first round pick. Here, you could have that one too. They have a lot of picks, I'm just realizing. They didn't do a bad job. A couple of second round picks. Let's just throw a bunch of seconds on top. I know this is a 2K ass trade because you're getting a lot of second round picks and just hoping it works. But I mean, I don't think they're going to hollow out the tank on first round picks. I've already explained this. Sorry, Hawks fans. You're not going to get a ton back because beggars cannot be choosers. But you can get a bunch of second round picks back. And I don't think anyone would really mind that. And it'd be a good starting spot for the Hawks because you don't have to take on a first round pick salary. It'd just be a 1-for-1, really. All they'd get is one player, unless you want to erase the second round picks. Let's say they want to erase the second round picks. Let's say they want to take a shot on a guy. What if they really want Bub Carrington? I don't know if the Hawks would want Bub Carrington, though. You have Nikhil, who's looked really, really good at point guard for them. Bub hasn't looked great this year. I don't know. You could do that, though. It could be, I mean, maybe they want AJ Johnson. He showed flashes last year, not as much this year. Let's do it. Bub Carrington has not been great this year. We'll say he gets a fresh start in Atlanta and just 1 first-round pick, Bub Carrington and CJ McCollum. And if you press try the trade, it will fail. Shit, wait. Oh, I have to cut $1.5 million from the Wizards' incoming trade value to make this successful for the Wizards. So that would mean I would have to give up another actual player. Let me go back and rework. It is now a success. I just added Cam Whitmore. That's all I did. Cam Whitmore has had some really high highs and some really low lows in his NBA career, his young NBA career, albeit. But obviously the Wizards would have to add one more player to get to the 14, but you could figure that one out. This trade goes through as is. It is Bub Carrington getting a fresh start in Atlanta because he has struggled this year. Cam Whitmore, he could try and become something in Atlanta. He has yet to really make any impact, at least in my opinion, watching Wizards games this year. CJ McCollum, who's an expiring deal, and you get Trae Young in Washington. Washington gets their point guard of the future to help. Keyshawn George has been really good as a catch-and-shoot player this year, so adding Trae Young to a guy who's already done really well catch-and-shoot, and plus you have a good backline defender in Alex Sarr. If Trae Young gets blown by, you have a great rim protector. Just a thought. We can close this. We can move on to another one. The other team that I was thinking of for Trae Young was maybe the Rockets, but this is the hardest one to maybe ballpark because of how much money Trae Young is making. $46 million is not an easy amount of money to cover. It would probably include Van Vliet. I don't know if I want to give up Van Vliet, though. Doe would have to be in it just because of the money. It would be easier if they did this in the offseason too, because then you could sign and trade Tari Eason if you really wanted to. I don't know if they would in that trade package because Tari Eason is a really, really good player. Really good player. Like Terror Twins, I'm down. That's Thunder Buddies almost. It'd be Freddie. It'd probably be Doe, and they'd still need to give up more money. What if we do Aaron Holiday? Team is hard capped at the first apron. Yeah, I'm really trying to make this work. I don't know if it's going to. We give up a first round pick, a couple of protected picks, a top 5 protected there, and then we can go down and give them a 2032, let's say unprotected, whatever. We'll get rid of that unprotected pick. I don't think this will go through though because of the cap aprons. It's a really tough workaround. Yeah, it's gonna fail. Because who the fuck cares about the standard contracts? You can just add a guy. This trade would result in the Rockets crossing the tax apron while hard capped. I need to cut $6 million from the Rockets' incoming value, and I just don't think I can do that. They don't have a ton of mid-level contracts. I don't think the Rockets is realistic just because of contracts the more I look at it. So we can ballpark. Oof, just sneezed my head off right there. We can ballpark the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards has seemed frustrated. I don't know if you saw the tweet the other day that in the huddle he just kind of stormed off. He threw his towel and just stormed off. I think I can find that. Hold on. Right here. Obviously frustrated with the performance, and rightfully so, but he needs to stay on the floor and root for his team. He had 30. The rest of the team had 50. He is frustrated, it seems, and this is a way to really make things shake. Anthony Edwards has been playing really good basketball. Hasn't really resulted in much. It has resulted in winning, but just not the real highs that we want. So fuck it, Trae Young. This is what we call really trying your best to make something work. We would have to probably throw in Julius, which sucks. Don't get me wrong. That it definitely sucks, but your spacing has been questionable because of Julius Randle. Not trying to be an asshole. He just really is an inconsistent shooter. You'll get a really good Julius Randle game and then a 1 for 7 the night after. And then we can also throw Rob Dillingham in there. And they would still need to clear a good amount of money. So that's who comes into play here. Do they have any really... I probably have to give up... I don't know if Dante would even clear it. They might have to give up somebody like a McDaniels, and I don't know if I would do that as much. I forgot how many picks the Timberwolves gave up for Rudy. Oh, my Lord. You're going to have to give up this pick swap, and let's say this 2032 first and another 2032 second. Oh, my God, I can't speak right now. They're just giving up a bunch of seconds because they already have Rob Dillingham in the trade, who isn't the perfect player, but he is a first-round pick, essentially, and he gets a fresh start. If I try trade on this, I don't know if it'll work. Oh, it would work perfectly, but I can't wait. I can't trade Keaton Wallace until the 18th, and the stipend rule, I'd have to get rid of a first-round pick. I can rework this pretty easily, I think. The reason why I was so okay with getting rid of Keaton Wallace is because I've been watching him recently. He's not that good. How about N'Faly Dante? Has he signed too recently as well? We could try that. Now it's a success. The Minnesota Timberwolves would have to bring in a guy, but also this trade would work. My rationale here, simply put, again, the Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards specifically has seemed very frustrated, throwing the towel, having a tantrum, going to the back, i.e. Draymond Green. It's very Draymond Green-esque. You try something different. They have no playmaking outside of when Mike Conley plays. When Conley's in, they look like a really good team. When Mike Conley's out, it becomes a lot of Anthony Edwards pounding the ball into the floor until there's like 5 seconds left on the shot clock. So you get some offense in Trae Young. You keep Rudy Gobert because he is one of, if not the best backline defender in basketball, right up there with Wembanyama. And you bring in N'Faly Dante, who the fuck cares? The backup center, and Baron Jay's there already, so it's not like they really needed him, but it's more so to make the money work. But the Hawks bring in a bunch of new guys. Mike Conley, who was on the last year of his deal, that's just evaporating money after the year. Dante, you might be able to reroute, because I know a team that would want Dante for only $12 million. He can play make a little bit, but he's not consistent enough at it, and when he is playmaking really well, he's shooting really bad. The other day, I believe he had 8 or 9 assists, but he was like 2 for 11. So, that's not great. Julius Randle, who is a good player in his own right, but again, I'm not exactly sure how much I like the fit still to this day. Because it really works better when Naz Reid's on the floor with Randle. But also, the spacing just gets brutal sometimes. You see Anthony Edwards driving into 3-4 people every single time because they don't have the spacers. And Rob Dillingham gets a fresh start. It's apparent Minnesota doesn't really view him as something yet either. It's year 2. I know it's still early in the guy's career, but it is very, I don't even know what to think about it because he doesn't play a ton. And then picks. So, that is the end of the Trae Young saga. We can move on, talk about Anthony Davis now, unless there's another team that I see that I was thinking about. I don't think so. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves were the only Western Conference team I really thought of, so we'll be right back to work some Anthony Davis trades. Actually, I'm just realizing I forgot to do the Bucks trade. There's a chance that the Bucks would want to do a Trae Young deal. So that would be Trae Young over there, $46 million. Kyle Kuzma, goodbye. Who else can go? They don't have a ton of bloated contracts. That's the thing. They only have like 2 or 3 guys on actual high-level contracts. They're still $4 million over the apron. Jesus. KPJ, you're gone. Ryan Rollins can stay though because Ryan Rollins had a really good year. Can they give up anybody else? Amir Coffey? I mean, I guess Cole Anthony can go. They don't have a ton of picks either. Oh my goodness. It's not pretty. What if I give away the 2032 first? Let's do top 5 protected. Let's do top 8 protected because they're not going to be, they might not be that good. And then we can do a second round pick. It's not a lot back. Would this work? No, because over the allowed, okay, yeah, the money's not going to work here. The Bucks are unable to make this trade since they're over the apron. I need to cut another $8 million, which might actually, if I wanted to get rid of $8 million more from this trade, I would have to give away, I don't know, Miles Turner, which would just make it even worse. It'd just be digging a hole even deeper. I don't know if I like any of these moves for the Bucks. I think another trade would make more sense, maybe the Michael Porter one that we could talk about. A thought that I had that may not be loved is the Toronto Raptors. They've been playing pretty well as is. They're not a bad team. Of course, they lost the other day to the Nuggets on a Brandon Ingram almost game winner. Anthony Davis to the Raptors. It'd have to be for RJ, or do I want to give up Quick? I think Quick has been really decent for them, so I'd probably give up RJ. They still have to make up a ton of money, so who else would be going? Maybe Yak, but I think you want to keep that center depth there. Maybe IQ, and then you just run Shed. I don't even know if that would work. Who else would have to come back? This is going to get really dicey, and that's kind of the issue. Really struggling to find a way how I can make this work without giving up Yak. I don't want to give up Yak is the issue. What if I get rid of RJ and just do Quickly? They still got to make up money. They don't have room on this apron space. I don't know who the other option is because I don't think that there's a real way that I can make the money work here unless, if I give up RJ and Quick, they would still have to give somebody back. The Mavericks would. And at that point, you're talking like Klay Thompson. I don't even know if that would work still. Obviously, I think there would have to be more picks involved in this. I don't really love it. Truth be told, I don't. It's Anthony Davis and Caleb Martin for RJ and Quick. I don't love it. I already said that. But it would be a Hail Mary move for the Raptors because they desperately need center play. I love CMB. I think he's really, really good. I don't think he's a true 5-man. Mamu's definitely not a 5-man. And Yak has been hurt. I don't love it. Who would have to give up picks here? I don't even know who would be giving up picks here. They might just have to exchange some. And nobody's giving up more picks because realistically, I don't know. I don't love it. This trade, I believe Jake Fisher was one of the guys who proposed the Raptors move for Anthony Davis. I don't love it. I truly don't. It's just a thought process. It's a little fun mental exercise. I don't think this is really going to happen. Let's move off the Raptors. We can go to another team that's been talking about Anthony Davis recently. The Where are they? Golden State Warriors. The mid-ass 500 Warriors. Anthony Davis, you're going to the Warriors, buddy. Who's going where now? This is where shit gets spooky. Obviously, Kuminga, goodbye. I'm going to be honest. Alfredo, goodbye. He hasn't really done much this year. The Warriors are so deep into this cap. I don't even want to call it. It's like a nightmare almost. I don't even know who else they could give up realistically here. Moses doesn't even make it work still, I don't think. Look how fucking much space they have. It's because of certain guys making $54 million to average 15 a game. He's like 18 a game. I'll put some respect on his name. He runs a coffee brand, damn it. He's dignified. They don't want to give up Jimmy Butler. And I know the Mavericks are really okay with Jonathan Kuminga. There's some real interest there. But I don't know how I could even come close to making this work. I really don't know. Because if I try this trade, it's going to come nowhere close to going through. Yeah, absolutely. 14 mil from the Warriors needs to be cut. Yeah, I just don't think I can make this work unless there's someone like Draymond. But I don't think they're not obviously not giving up fucking Draymond Green in an AD trade. I doubt it. And they have no interest in giving up Jimmy Butler. So this is another place where it's just pure hell, but it makes a ton of sense because the Warriors have very limited center play. They're a small team. I mean, you look at all their top players. Steph, guard. Jimmy, 6'6". I'm not saying that. Draymond, 6'6". Buddy Hield, 6'4". Podziemski, 6'5". Melton, 6'2". I know Gary Payton, 6'2". He's a point center, for Christ's sake. Guy Santos, Trace Jackson Davis. Even their centers aren't really big guys. Quentin Post doesn't even have his fucking height listed. How does that happen? Now, that's wild. Everyone else here has their height listed. Even Malavi Leons, whoever the fuck that is. LJ Cryer, when did he get there? Yeah, everyone has their height listed except for Quentin Post. That's a little weird. I don't know. But I don't think they could really make the money work. But it makes, in thought process, it makes a good amount of sense. The Warriors need big man play, and Anthony Davis is a stalwart defensively, and they don't need him to do a ton offensively because they got Steph fucking Curry. And the Mavericks would get Jonathan Kuminga because this was a trade that I saw from Sam Amick, the Warriors. The Mavericks actually called about an Anthony Davis trade. League source said the Mavericks do have interest in Kuminga, but he can't be traded on January 15th until January 15th. I don't know how it would work. Again, I don't know. You would have to give up Draymond Green, which I don't think the Warriors would do. It'd be a really risky move if they did, and I respect the hell out of it. That's a real push your chips to the center type of move if you give up Draymond Green. I just don't want to play around with it because I know Warriors fans will bite my fucking head off if I so much as suggest getting rid of Draymond. Desperate team, the Clippers could also be in potentially as well. The desperation factor is definitely there. John Collins, goodbye. Kick rocks, buddy. And then Bogey B, kick rocks as well, big guy. They need to clear $10 million still. How do we get there? Do we give up Zubats? Derek Jones might have to go, but even then, Derek Jones has been kind of pretty decent for them. I don't know how they can get there. Brook Lopez, goodbye. Can I make it work that way? Need to clear $2 million, about $3 million to make that work for the Clippers side, which means who's making 2.7? Oh, Bradley Beal, you're fucking gone, buddy. Nah, probably not. They can give up YKN. I like Yannick Conan Niederhauser. I actually think they should keep him. He's a good guy. Chris Paul, get the fuck out. You don't belong here. What does this go through? It does. Obviously, the Clippers would be giving up picks. We can go rework it now that I know the money goes through. The Clippers would be having to give up picks. I'm sorry. A lot of second-round picks are going to be gone here. And then probably one first-round pick. One singular first-round pick in 2031. I'll rework that. Top 3 protected, I guess. And then just a bunch of second-round picks. Because, let's be honest, again, the Mavericks are not in the greatest place to be demanders in a trade. This would go through. Anthony Davis to the Clippers. The Clippers get rid of John Collins, Bogey B, Brook Lopez, and Chris Paul. It would make the Dallas Mavericks even more fun to watch, to be honest, because now you got Chris Paul, Brook Lopez. You get to bring Chris Paul in to work with Cooper Flagg. Now, guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and who was the other one that said it? Harden even have admitted that Chris Paul was really big in their development. Some young guys have said that, even Victor, Stephon Castle as well. Chris Paul has done a number to help these young guys get better. And you bring him in, you get Chris Paul to work with Cooper Flagg, and maybe he can. Maybe Cooper Flagg would show up to Chris Paul's Halloween party. But Anthony Davis going to the Clippers, it's more of a desperate Hail Mary. It's an absolute Hail Mary from the Clippers, but they've been hot recently. I think they won like 6 straight. That's not bad. I just don't know how much I really believe in it. And on top of that, it'd be a big three, a mid three, but it'd be a big three, all injury prone players except for Harden. He's kind of durable. And the Dallas Mavericks don't get a ton back. You get a first round pick and 3 second-round picks. You're not getting a lot back in an Anthony Davis trade because the whole league knows you don't want him there anymore. It makes no sense for him to be there. So this would be the trade. I don't mind it. Clippers fans, talk me down below. Mavericks fans, talk me down below. I'll see if I can work out one more for AD before we work on Michael Porter Jr. Before we murk Michael Porter Jr. Yep, we're just going to kill him. Sorry, man. That's just how the game's played nowadays. I don't know where else AD could go because the Pelicans know they got Derek Queen. They're good. Kings are already in the mud. They don't need to do that. Clippers, we already worked one. Jazz, no, they have enough big men already. Trailblazers, no, they got Klingon. They're good. Grizzlies, Edey, he's hurt, but so is AD always, so meh. Warriors, we tried it. The Suns, I don't think so. They're in such a fun spot. Why give up having a fun team to move all your chips to the center of the table for Anthony Davis? I don't know. I don't like it. Timberwolves, no. Rockets, no. Lakers, I don't know how that would happen. I don't think they have it unless you're giving up Austin Reeves. And again, that's another guy where, similar to Draymond Green, if I were to put Austin Reeves in a trade package for Anthony Davis, trade Anthony Davis right back to the Lakers, first of all. But also, I think Lakers fans would bite my head off. Nuggets are dead at center, but I don't think they're going to trade for one, especially one making $54 million fucking dollars. Atlanta is a thought. So is Boston. But I don't think Boston has the contracts to make it work. You just go through plain and simple. Jason Tatum's not getting traded. Jaylen Brown's not getting traded. Derek White, I don't think he's getting traded either. Anthony Simons, 1 year, makes sense. You know what? Let's try it. Let's try to make it work. Anthony Davis to the Celtics like it was supposed to happen in 2018 or whenever AD got traded. And then AD's dad said he didn't want to go to the Celtics for some weird-ass reason. I don't know. That was kind of a dick move by by AD's dad, I can't lie. Who else would be in here? Slam Hauser. Peace, big dog. I don't like him that much. You guys can have interesting young players like Baylor Shireman. He can fucking leave. Yeah, I just don't think the Celtics have big enough contracts to make this work unless they give up Derek White, and then you'd be giving up Derek White, Anthony Simons. Your only guard play left would be Peyton Pritchard. That's it. So I don't think this makes much sense. Even Hugo Gonzalez kind of plays like a guard, but he's more of a wing type. It just doesn't make sense. I don't think this would go through anyways if I put this through right now. Yeah, fail. The Celtics would have to give up $13 million. And if you go right back to where we were before, you could see nobody's making $14 million for the Celtics. They don't have mid-level contracts. Either you're getting paid a lot or you're getting paid peanuts. That's how the Celtics are built right now. Somebody said the Bucks, maybe. I believe that also was like a Sam Amick or a Tim McMahon type of trade. I don't know how much I like it either. You'd be giving up Miles Turner and probably Carl Kuzma, as the bright Charles Barkley once said, Carl Kuzma. And Anthony Davis, you would be going to... Oh, I'm stuck. Anthony Davis, you're going to the Bucks, big dog. That would make, I believe... I think it might work, actually, just straight up like that. Yeah, it does. Damn. I think the Bucks would have to give up a young player or something like that. Maybe they give up somebody like a Gary Trent. I don't think so. I don't even know. Derry Bird's not leaving. I don't think they want Cole Anthony. Andre Jackson, shout out to Albany Academy, but no. I don't know. Fuck it. We'll add Andre Jackson, and then we'll just go pick for pick. Bucks will be giving up. They're desperate as fuck, so you're giving up a round one, and you're probably going to give up that top 8 round one that's top 8 protected. They could do that. Does this trade still go through, or do I have to get rid of Andre Jackson? No, it goes through. Miles Turner, Carl Kuzma, Andre Jackson Jr., and 2 first-round picks for Anthony Davis. Do I love it? Not really. But if you're in John Horst's shoes right now, you're very desperate because you know the team has been skidding. They lost to the fucking Wizards, guys. Twice this year they've lost to the fucking Wizards, no less. That's unacceptable automatically. But on top of that, you're desperate. You know Giannis might be requesting a trade. He talked about at mid-season that Giannis literally said that like some guys, we might be out the door by mid-season if we don't start playing better. I don't know what direction John Horst is going to go in, but in my opinion, from what I know about John Horst, I believe he's the type of guy that will keep digging the hole deeper and praying to God it just fixes itself. Very similar to a Lawrence Frank, an L. Frank from the Clippers type of guy. I believe the Mavericks would have to give up one more player just to make the contract or the roster space work, but that can be worked around. I think this trade makes sense, but it's another Hail Mary. Anthony Davis, an absolute Hail Mary, especially with the injury history. But if you're John Horst, you're already desperate enough. Maybe the Bucks are a Trae Young team. I don't think I talked about that. I might have. I don't know. I'm losing my marbles. Anthony Davis trades, though. As for that, I think that's about it. We could talk about Big Mike Porter Jr. now. The Nets have been a very respectable basketball team recently. Michael Porter Jr. has been a big part of that. He's a sniper. Over the last month, he's averaging 26, 25 a game, something like that, shooting 50 from the field. He's been unreal. I believe the Warriors should be in on Michael Porter Jr., and they wouldn't have to give up a ton because it's not like MPJ's making a ton. MPJ's making 38.5, and Jonathan Kuminga's already making 22. You give up somebody like Moses, doing my best Kendrick Perkins impersonation, and then Alfredo. Nah, maybe not Alfredo. They still need big bodies. Buddy? Yeah, Buddy can go. Do we have to give up anything else? Let's check. Oh, it only didn't go through because Jonathan Kuminga can't get traded until the 15th. So that's okay. That's completely fine. They can just wait, make the trade then. But this trade would make sense. The Warriors would have to give up some picks. So goodbye a 2026 first, and let's do a 2031 first. Why am I not protecting the 2026 first? Because the Warriors aren't going to be a bad team. If they had Michael Porter Jr., they might even make the playoffs, not the play-in like they're slated to right now. So they're not going to be a bad team. They can give up the 18th pick or whatever. The reason why the 2031 is because they might be bad in 2031. Well, I can't give up the 2031 because that would be consecutive draft classes. So we'll do a 2030 or a 2029 top 5 protected. And that should be a little bit better, I believe. Yeah, and the only reason it's saying it's not going through is because Kuminga has to be waiting until the 15th to be traded. So this trade would go through, theoretically, I guess, if you did this on January 15th. So 2 weeks from now, if you do this deal, it will work. Kuminga, Moody, Hield, and a first-round pick for Michael Porter Jr. It's not giving up a lot. They might give up more than one first-round pick, obviously. But this is basically just getting Klay Thompson back. Literally, because Klay Thompson wasn't passing, and later stage Klay Thompson wasn't defending either. Michael Porter Jr. ain't doing shit either on the defensive end. Also, it helps rebounding. Michael Porter Jr. is a sneaky underrated rebounder. He's averaging 7.5 a game this season. So I think there's definitely some upside there from the perspective of the Warriors because they really are kind of desperate. So yeah, this trade would make sense, at least in my mind. Warriors fans, talk to me down below. Michael Porter Jr. doesn't have a ton of trade spots that I would believe. Jake Fisher also mentioned the Pistons, which I don't mind because I don't think they'd have to give up a ton. Michael Porter Jr. to the Pistons. Toby, goodbye. That's an expiring deal. No big deal. The bars, I guess. And then Carrots Levert. And then picks. They would have to give up a little bit more. A 2027 first will do. Let's do unprotected. 2027, the Pistons are still going to have Cade, and I believe Mike is still under contract for that year, so they shouldn't be stinky. And then we can scroll all the way down. Look at all the picks they got. 2031, top 3 protected, and then we'll throw a couple of seconds on there just to have some funsies with it, and then we'll see if it goes through. Surprise, surprise, it does, obviously. Carrots, Levert, Tobias Harris. I know it's Karras. I called him Carrots his whole career. 2 first-round picks, 1 protected top 3, and then 2 second-round picks for Michael Porter Jr. A good movement shooter, a upgrade to Duncan Robinson, and an upgrade to Malik Beasley that they had last year. Especially since MPJ's shown he can create off the dribble a little bit. He can rebound. There's some upside with Michael Porter Jr., and I don't mind the fit in Detroit because they have some absolute maulers on the defensive end, and I didn't have to give up any of the young guys. You give up pick equity, you don't have to give up the young guys. No Ron Holland, no Jaden Ivey. I could rework the trade and throw one of them in. Obviously, they'd be giving up picks. They would not be giving up nearly as many picks if you're going to throw a Jaden Ivey, and he's making $10 million. I might just get rid of Caris LeVert and then just do Jaden Ivey straight up. And then they probably won't have to get rid of many picks. I do a second-round pick, maybe 2 seconds. That's about it because Jaden Ivey is a young piece, and the Nets, I mean, they don't need guard play, need guard play. They do need a scoring guard is what I believe. Cam Thomas, probably gone. Let's be honest with each other. That guy has a piss-poor attitude, and I'm tired of it. And, Yegor is a bomber from 3, but he's not a natural scorer. Neither's Traore. You know what I mean? They're young guys. Ben Seraph isn't really a scorer either. Jaden Ivey is a guy who can come in and score the ball. How much is he averaging currently? 17.5, and it's not bad. 17, 4, and 4 is not that bad. Yeah, that trade would go through Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey, 2 second-round picks for Michael Porter Jr. Nets fans, you might want a little bit more, understandably so. Maybe they could weasel a first-round pick with Jaden Ivey out of there. But if you're a Pistons fan, you get to keep you get to bring an MPJ. You get rid of Tobias, who hasn't really been that good this year, and Jaden Ivey hasn't really been that good this year. You keep Duncan Robinson, who's your other movement shooter. You get to keep Asar Thompson and Ron Holland, your 2 great defensive wings. I think this is a net win-win for both sides. Maybe the Pistons give up more picks because maybe the Nets don't love Jaden Ivey that much, but I could really see this working out for either side. Crazy. What's Cleveland got to throw for an MPJ? $38 million they got to clear. Darius Garland makes it work automatically. Don't tempt me, big guy. DeAndre Hunter, though, I'll trade him. And then maybe we give up Alonzo Ball. Nah, Max Strus hasn't played this year. He can go. He has not played this year, and you're bringing in a wing anyways, and you already have good wings. Obviously, Sam Merrill is a good wing, but Jalen Tyson, and where's the other one down here? My guy Naquan Tomlin. This guy's a fucking mammoth down low. He is big. Tyrese Proctor's not even that bad. Neither Craig Porter. Craig Porter, negative 1.6 LeBron, but it feels differently. He feels like he has not been that bad. So monetarily, I don't think this would go through correctly. Oh, it wouldn't work at all because they are over the second apron. So they can't put 2 players in a trade to make the money match for 1. They can't do Hunter and Strus for Porter because that would mean that they would have to have the 2 contracts to trade for the 1. So if I wanted to make a trade to the Cleveland Cavaliers, I would have to give up Darius Garland because of the fact that the money matches that way. If I put it through like this, it might work. It does. Yeah, it'd have to be a 1-for-1, but I don't know who gets better here. I genuinely don't. The Nets, I don't think they really need a Darius Garland type because he is also a passing guard, but I don't know. 1-for-1, I don't like it that much. We can go back to a just trade, and let's just get rid of the Cavaliers. They're over the second apron, so they can't aggregate 2 contracts. So they can't make, $12 million here and $15 million here make up for a player that's making $27 million. No, it has to be $27 million player for $27 million player. That's it. Yeah, it just becomes way too difficult to work through. Who else would be interested in a Michael Porter Jr.? I think the last one I'm going to talk about is, I'm sorry to do this again, the Milwaukee Bucks. Michael Porter Jr., you're going to the Bucks, and in exchange, it's going to be Karl Kuzma, and we'll do BP. I know BP, everyone loves BP in Milwaukee. Let's be honest, he ain't changing your season right now. It would be nice to get Giannis an elite motion shooter like Michael Porter Jr. That'd be just an absolutely beautiful pairing right there. I forgot their pick situation is tragically bad. Maybe if I give up this 27 first-round pick swap, and maybe I give up the young guy. What young guy would they want? Would the Nets want Ryan Rollins? I don't think so. I think they would, but I don't think the Bucks would give him up more so. I don't think that there's a young guy, quote unquote, that I would really guaranteed throw in here. So do they have any seconds? That can go, I guess. It's not a lot back. I think this would go through, though. Let me check. It indeed does. The Bucks make sense, too. I like all these trades. I think this one was Sam Amick's idea, was the Bucks and Nets and the Michael Porter Jr. swap. I believe that's Sam Amick, so I'll give him some credit there. But that's all I got for trade offers today. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, leave your trade offers down in the comments below. I'll work them out on Fanspo, see if I can make it work. See what team, your favorite team should acquire. Who should they acquire at the deadline? Talk to me down below. Like I said, comment, like. I'm going to go catch the game. See you guys in the next one.